Now that he scouted my expansion with his SCV, I gotta pay especially much attention to that he doesn't get his army over there while I'm not paying attention or something. So I gotta force him to do something else with his army. Like, he knows I have a lot of lurkers, I have a mutas, and all this stuff. So he can't really go back to my or go to my expansion or anything. Like, he's forced to kind of stay over there in the map, preventing me from doing anything huge or so with my army, and preventing me from counterattacking him in case he wants to attack that expansion. So I'm kind of moving in, forcing him to be careful with that stuff. Like, kind of looking for a chance to gain more map control myself. And such. And now I notice how crazy he's been. Like, he's probably made something like 6 barracks, and he's been getting a very late tech, and those 6 barracks have been just to produce a ton of marines, and he's been mostly ignoring his tech, or at least having a very delayed tech or so. And now I gotta watch out. Like, losing those lurkers was bad. Thankfully he lost a lot of marines in the process, so it wasn't a complete defeat, but still it's something that I really want to avoid. Now I finally got like, all his army was around the map, so, and I noticed that his SCVs were building those things. So if he has that big part of his army all over the map, then it probably means that he doesn't have very much of his army over at his base. So I had a good chance of delaying his tech a lot. Like, his science vessels will be delayed by a huge amount over here, and I was even able to get 1 siege tank, which is very important thing. And over here, I was gonna make 3 more lurkers with these hydras, so that I can like, 2 lurkers are not gonna hold the ramp against such a mass of marine and medic. But so I was gonna make 3 more, but unfortunately I supply blocked myself too much. And at this point, when he has had an expansion for a while, and my second expansion and third gas is gone, I'm forced to do some kind of a counterattack. Like, if I do not do a lot of damage over here, or at least deny his mining at his natural completely, and destroy his defenses, then it's gonna be all over for me. Like, this is my chance. If I lose this, then it's over. And thankfully, since he had his whole army basically over there, and I counterattacked right away, I was able to manage with it. This is kind of a special case scenario. Like, this is probably not gonna happen that often, to be honest. I also pay attention to keep making lurkers so that so that so that in case he comes back from my expansion and tries to counterattack my main, I actually have some lurkers over there ready for it. I also try to expand pretty much right away, and that is very necessary. Like, because he got my third gas, I'm forced to look for it even more aggressively, and I gotta get that third gas no matter what. Like, there's really not much of an option on what to do over here. I have to get the third gas. It's absolutely necessary. Now I was able to slow him down a lot over here, well, I stopped his mining completely. I got several of his SCVs. I got down one of his dropships, and I put a note for myself so that I'd pay attention to more dropship play and so on. So that's one thing. And since he noticed this expansion, I kind of expect him to try and get rid of it soon. So it's probably gonna be drop something else. But regardless, at this point it's far more important that I'm able to contain him and keep the pressure. Like, my defilers are out very soon. I have my defiler upgrades coming, all the stuff. So it's far more necessary that I'm able to keep adding pressure no matter what. I also check for that island expo because, like, if he gets an expansion over there, it's gonna be really bad for me. I'm trying to look if I can force in some mistake, but for him, with my lurkers, kind of trying to move in when he least expects it, and get some lucky shots with my lurkers, or a little bit less lucky, depends. I also send down more drones to expand, because for one, that expansion is not nearby him, so it will be very easy for him to use a dropship play on that expansion. But more importantly, if I lose that expansion, then no matter what happens to him, he's still in the game. So I gotta pay attention that I will have a third gas no matter what. Besides, I have some extra minerals, so it's a good opportunity for me to get an extra expansion. So now I'm moving out. I gotta be sure so that I can exploit my defilers right away, no matter what. Like I gotta be there ready to use it whenever the moment strikes. And I noticed that he noticed that he's gonna try and drop my expansion, but I cannot really do much about it, so I just concentrate on dark swarming and containing him at this point, because if when I'm this close to his base and he has no way of really pushing me back at the moment, then that's almost like GG for Terran, though because he's been denying all my expansions, it's not actually that big of a deal for him to even get contained, especially because I don't have too much gas to afford keeping constant pressure with lurkers and defilers and so on. Regardless, I'm able to keep dark swarming him, which is great, and that has allowed me to regain the big part of the game back once again. Now at this time I gotta be especially careful that I can keep defilers swarming him, I can keep down his expansions, I can stop him from using that stuff. Like, that is absolutely necessary for me. If I cannot, if I lose this control over here, then well, it's not good for me at all. Like, I might lose the whole game very soon, if so. So I'm moving in with my lurkers, kind of trying to add a bit more pressure, especially because he raided my defiler, so I had to add a dark swarm as quickly as possible. And I figured instead of using it at one spot, why not add a bit more pressure on him as well. So I'm also bringing over some defilers, and at this time I pay attention to his large science vessel count. Like, when he has this many science vessels, anything can happen. I cannot express enough how you cannot give up too early. Like if a Terran has that many science vessels or even more, I still don't have my third gas working, so it's actually a bit more. He doesn't need as large science vessel count to keep the game even. But my point is that if he has a lot of science vessels, I cannot give up too early. Like, if I give up at this point and I kind of get careless, I'm gonna lose right away, because he can pretty much keep irradiating my whole army all the time, all my defilers, all my lurkers, and eventually when he pushes out, there's not much I can do to stop him. So I gotta be sure that I have some way of dealing with those science vessels. That's also why I kind of decided to make a couple more scourges, even at the cost of some lurkers, just so that I can scourge some of those science vessels, because without a doubt he's gonna make a lot of mistakes. Now I noticed with my minimaps that a blue dot was moving over, and exactly it's a dropship. So I use my scourge and make sure to defend my expo with some links and lurkers, because if I don't have them nearby and I lose this, then I might lose the game as well, and I cannot give up too early. Like, it's a huge mistake. Now I know that I kind of made a mistake over here by not having my scourge over ready when I needed them, because I lost those two, which resulted on him having a dropship over there and some marines and medics. And that's kind of tricky thing to deal with, because this forces me to keep paying attention to what he's doing much more than should be necessary. I decided to leave the lurker over here, however, because if I get careless, at least I have some more defense over there instead of just links. I also brought my mutalisk over to the corner before, just to make sure that he doesn't expand, and he also tried to lure them over to his main at this point, but I bring them back because I want to know if he tries to take that expansion. It's really his only opportunity besides his main. I mean his natural, and since his natural is probably somewhat running out of minerals as well, he's not gonna be left with many options after that. And at this point, I'm just gonna deny however possible. So he was he pretty much irradiates all my lurkers all the time. Since I don't have very many due to the low gas count. I also research plague. Usually pro gamers get plague pretty much right after consume. That's because with the pro gamer micro,